He's our official.
That my wife bought me.
Yeah,
Let's give her credit for that.
Yeah, they gotta go back to it faster.
Around the corner.
Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
I guess no problem. So, I guess it's my role as the mayor pro tem. I'd like to call the special city council meeting in the city of Alpine for today, March 29th at 5:30 p.m. to order. Just a reminder, please, turn off your cell phones or put them in stun mode so you don't end up with interruptions. And we have a agenda this evening, which is focused. So if I call the meeting to order, and Mr. Zimmer, would you be so kind as to give the invocation this evening? Thank you, sir.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for Alpine. We thank you for the spirit that we have in our community and the love that abounds here. We ask you to be with us at this meeting with financial decisions and information. Open our eyes and hearts to your will and our community's will here in Alpine, Texas. We ask this in the name of our Savior Jesus. Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you very much. So, relative to quorum, we have 5 members here from the council tonight. The council quorum, and Bailey, provide proof notice.
Yes, a quorum was determined and the notice was posted at 10:15 a.m. on March 17th, 2017.
Great, thank you very much. We have no reports tonight, no public hearings, nothing on consent agenda, and nothing on the information discussion. So we only have really one item this evening, and that's item 8, to discuss and consider approving a resolution accepting in fiscal year 2016 year ending September 30th, 2016 audit from Gibson, Reddick and Patterson LLC for the city of Alpine, who did the audit for. So I turn it over to you, Mr. Zimmer.
AlpineCity City Council. Last Friday, we did send out the draft to all of you, and on your counter in front of you, you have hardbound copies. Craig and Marlene are here today to present. We've got, as they've done in past years, some slides that they'll go through, and they put hard copies up on your desk as well. And then after his presentation, we'll go to the question and answer.
Super. Good. Thank you.
Good evening. I'll get us started, and then when the hard stuff starts coming around, I'll turn it over to Marlene. and that's really no joke. Marlene works very closely with your folks here. Excuse me, and they make a very good team. But I think I need to point out, there was a comment earlier, they are not best friends. Okay, not that they're enemies, but Marlene is an auditor at heart. She was born an auditor. So she audits me, you know. And so if you ever hear any grumbling from your folks, you'll know it is warranted, but it's nothing mean-spirited. It's doing the job to make sure that this report is accurate and that the city is benefiting from what we do. So this first graph here is a comparison of the governmental revenue. So this is coming from, you have the report in front of you. It's page 22, Exhibit C3. Now, this is the total column of the revenue section. So we kind of grouped it together in the main categories. The bottom there, the blue section is the property taxes, and you can see a little bit of an increase there relates to increases in appraisal values. The gold section is the sales and use tax, and you do see a nice increase there. That is related to the hotel tax increase and also the sales tax increases, which according to management say it relates to the folks here working on the pipeline and so forth. The gray section is the intergovernmental, which is basically grant revenue, and a little bit of a decrease there, and that is something that will fluctuate just based on the grants that you get. The green section, admin and franchise, and this is basically what the enterprise funds are contributing to offset the administrative services that are performed on their behalf. The red is the other revenue, which is basically everything else. And you see a little bit of an increase there. One thing is the enterprise funds are being charged for the road repair work that when they go in and replace the pipes or whatever. And so there's about 80,000 that relates to that went into here due to the accounting that needed to take place. And also this, if you pulled out last year's report and were comparing it, you definitely noticed some differences. After we picked up the city as a client, we have been trying to improve the report and make it more, I guess, conform with standard reporting practices. And so this year we went one step further to try and make it a very standardized report so it can be compared to other governmental entities. And so one thing that happened was the penalty and interest on property tax got put up into that red section instead of being down in the blue. So no surprises there. Did you have anything else to add to that?
No.
The expenditure, if we can go to the next page, this is just the general fund, okay? The previous one was all the governmental revenue. Now, what we're looking at here is just the general fund. And as you compare those numbers, you will notice there is very little, very, very little change. And that is clearly a result of City Council controlling the budget, and then, of course, management implementing that budget. So we're very pleased to see y'all really keeping a cap on your expenditures. The next page, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Megan's pretty proud of this one. Now, back when we took over as your auditors, we had to do a number of changes on how some things were being reported, and we ended up with huge negative in the unassigned fund balance. And what y'all have done, once this was brought to your attention, thankfully you realized that that was not appropriate, and you've been working very hard at correcting that. The blue is the unassigned, and you can see we still have a teeny tiny negative in the unassigned. Excuse me. The red section here is primarily what's been committed. There was some money transferred related to the road repairs, and that's committed. And so we don't show that as part of the blue section. That's what that red is. So we are honestly thrilled to see this improvement. It was obvious that we were moving in the right direction, but this is just great news, and we're very, very happy to show this to everybody. And I would guess that members of management will be very happy to show this to whoever will look at it. But the next graph that I would like to bring your attention to comes from Exhibit D2, which is pages 28 and 29. This is a summary of the Water, Sewer, and Sanitation Fund operation. The blue bar is the revenue from this fund. You can see we had a little bit of an increase here, and that was relates primarily to, I think we had a 5% increase in the sanitation rate that we were charging. Then the gold, brown, whatever color that is the operating expense. And we have an increase here, and that relates primarily to the road repair charges that we talked about earlier, and an increase in the collection fees. Now, this red line is, I guess if we were a corporation, we'd call it net income, but in government, we call it net change. Now, if you look there on page 28, actually,
Page 30.
yeah, this laps over to page 30. There is a line that says income before loss, contribution, and transfer, which is positive 216. So that's what this line is. Now, the next page.
Craig, can I make one point on this?
Certainly.
When I look at 2012, 2013, and certainly it looks like that net change amount is higher. But if you remember, in 2014 is when we implemented the charging of different funds back for the services that the county admin was providing. So although it looks like we dropped, we actually probably dropped more, but through our controls we improved. So that's
Correct. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Next.
So the gas utility, and as you'll remember, we took on the additional part of the gas operation. So that's why you see the jump here. This year, a reduction in the revenue, which relates to the mild winter we had. If it's not cold, people don't turn on the heater as much. The expense side stayed about the same, a little bit of a reduction. There was a reduction of about $90,000 in gas purchases, but we had other expenses that went up that offset some of that. Part of it was payroll and pension costs. One thing, those of you that have had the draft of the statement to look at, there is a tremendous amount of disclosure related to pensions now. This was a change that's been implemented over the last couple of years. And part of that also includes some accruals of pension expense and also payroll accruals and whatnot. So this was an accounting change that bumped up some expenses to offset some of that. So that's why you don't see the same drop in the expenses as you do in the revenue. Now the red line here is a little different from the water, because this fund also made like a $450,000 transfer, a fund transfer to the general fund. So that's what made that go below zero. So the fund, all of these enterprise funds, the funds that basically operate a business, the water fund and the gas fund at the airport, they are accounted for like a business. And so we want to make sure they have adequate equity. And if you're looking there on page 30, the bottom line, you'll see that they have significant equity. The water fund has 11 million, airport has 2.8 million, and the gas fund has almost 2.4 million. So very, very healthy financials. Would like to call your attention to page 93 in the back of the bound report. And we don't have a, do you have it?
Are you done with these?
Yes, yes. What this is whenever we do our audit, in addition to looking at accounting financial matters, we also look at regulations and laws that are material to the operation, and also internal controls and so forth. And when we find something that we feel to the city's operation, we list it as a finding. The prior year we had 4 findings. I'm pleased to report to you that those findings have been cleared up. Significant improvement in these areas, and you should be very happy and very proud of management. That was hard work for them to do to implement these controls. So this year we do not have any findings. So this is a clean audit report through and through. The audit opinion itself is what we refer to as a clean opinion. Allergies are killing me.
Yeah, really.
Now we do issue a separate letter which we refer to as the management letter, where we include our recommendations for improvements. These are significantly less significant. They are not material. They are recommendations to tighten controls, to improve processes. And so we list the prior year comments, and the bulk of those were corrected. And so as we get the bigger items cleared up, we're able to start digging deeper into the less significant issues. So if you read through those, you'll notice a number of them are extremely insignificant, but there's still areas that we feel needed to be addressed, and management has put their response as to what they're doing to correct that in there as well. So I think those comments are very straightforward and their responses are clear. So if you have any other questions, I would like to offer Marlene. My voice is shot, I guess. Any questions?
No, I'd like to say that I want to stress that I was an EDP auditor at Southwestern States Bank Card in Dallas for about 3 years. And it is highly unusual to get an audit that's this clean. All right, been there, done that, got that t-shirt. And this is really great. Thank you very much for your efforts in putting this together.
And that is true. I would like to point out, it doesn't matter how big or how small. We audit huge government entities, and we have findings on the big ones. We have findings on the little ones. And then we have some entities that have never had a finding. They just have always had the benefit of a governing council or board that really stressed the operations and supported management in what they did. And I can think of one that we've audited them for 25 years at least, and we never had a finding, but it's because of the environment. It starts at the top and goes down, and we're pleased to see that environment here now. So, and we ask that you continue supporting your management as you have.
Thanks. Any other questions of them?
Please. Rick, I know you're gonna.
I've gone through it. I've got a full page of notes that I went through, and I've got all my questions worked, and you responded to them, and so I'm gonna put my summary together, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Heck of a job.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You really want to?
So we have a motion.
I move that we accept the audit.
I
Okay, so we have a motion to accept the audit as presented. We have a second from Councilman Adkin. I would then like to entertain any discussion we want to have, and anyone have any comments from the audience they'd like to make about the audit. I haven't had a chance to read it, but are there any comments from the audience? Seeing none, any further discussion we want to have here? Yeah, you know, as I think about it from my standpoint, and I think about the big picture, you know, our city assets improved by almost $1.5 million. So that's a good news story. Our liabilities are down by just shy of $1 million. Our tax revenue went up. Our tax rate is the lowest of any city of this size in Texas and other Fort Element. We've had 3 years in a row of positive cash flow and continue to reduce our debt. We ended up with the year, I think, nearly a little over $3 million of cash in the bank or assets associated with that we could draw on if needed. Our pension plan, I made comment as we walked in, our pension plan's in good shape. We spent less in our pension plan this year than we brought in, so we're still positive on that. And as was pointed out, having a clean audit with zero findings. I'm not sure how long has it been since we've had an audit with zero findings since you've been involved, ever?
Yeah,
This is the first one since we've been.
This is the fourth year.
Fourth year.
So first time in about 4 years, which is terrific. So I agree. I think this terrific audit. Absolutely. Unless there's other comments, I'd like to call for the vote. All in favor of approving the audit as presented and written, please signify by raising your right hand. And none opposed, none abstained, so that motion passes 5-0. That's the only item we have on the agenda. Thank you very much for traveling all the way down here for a relatively short meeting. I know you enjoy the countryside, so it was all not for nothing.
It was a beautiful drive, and I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to drive down to have a meeting like this than the first meeting we had with y'all, where we did have a number of findings and issues. All I can say is just keep up the good work.
Have a safe drive back.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So the next item on the agenda is comments from council members. Nancy?
I think we should thank our finance department for the job they did in cooperating with the audit. I think it's phenomenal that there were no findings. We've made such a tremendous improvement since the current finance director took over.
In your humble advice.
I actually want to thank Eric and the staff for working really hard
to get us where we are now. Just know that it does not go unnoticed, and we really appreciate the work that you put in. I want to thank everyone for being that way.
I'm a little disappointed, there's only one member of the press here in media, but John Waters shows up. Yep, way to go, John. Yeah, I think that this is amazing. The last couple of years, it's obvious. We have a cohesive council, we have a businessman running it, and we have a professional in the finance director's position. Makes a big difference when we got all three of those coordinated. Hopefully, we'll keep pressing forward with what we have here. Thank you, Megan and City Manager Zipper.
Lucy?
I'm glad we have no fight, so we have a perfect audit.
And I'd like to add my compliments to Megan and Eric, and say it's a great change in terms of what's going on. Constant improvement. The bar is now set very high. So I know, Megan, you're already sweating next year because now you're starting. It's the bar's been set, so we look forward to similar results next year. Yeah, getting below zero is not possible, so we'll just look forward to the expectations. I have a motion to move for adjournment. Is there a second? We have a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thanks everyone for showing up. This meeting's adjourned.
Y'all have a good night.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.
Thank you.